welcome to Bar Church, everyone. This is what we do at X-ile in various places and times and with people. I'm happy that you're all joining us from around the world, all 47,000 of you. So we're in Luke chapter 7. Luke chapter 6 is Jesus teaching a bunch of lessons and stories. Is there anything that anybody remembers that sticks out about chapter 6 before we get into, because it's been a little while?
We went pretty deep into the Beatitudes, the whole turning the other cheek and basically being the better person and the golden rule and all of the things that were in Luke 6.
Okay, awesome. Judging others and bearing good fruit.
Yes.
Anything anyone has that just you need to want to say about that before we get started? I just want to catch us up into the story. So Jesus and his disciples are traveling now because he had taught all of these lessons as they're traveling, and so they're continuing to travel, and they're going into a different place now called Capernaum, which is Leanne's favorite place.
I love that place.
So does somebody want to read verses 1 through 5?
I will.
Awesome. Thank you, Beth.
The heading for this section is Jesus heals a centurion's servant. After Jesus had finished all his sayings in the hearing of the people, he entered Capernaum. A centurion there had a slave whom he valued highly, and who was ill and close to death. When he heard about Jesus, he sent some Jewish elders to him, asking him to come and heal his slave. When they came to Jesus, they appealed to him earnestly, saying, "He is worthy of having you do this for him, for he loves our people, and it is he who builds our synagogue for us."
All right. Well, so what sticks out to y'all about this first? What's the first thing that sticks out?
Now, is this like now people are like, oh, Jesus is here, we gotta get him, he'll help.
Well, and he's healing a slave.
Well, yeah, he's healing a slave. Now, slavery, right, like slavery is obviously a bad thing. We can all agree on that. But what was slavery like back then, do you think, during this time?
10 times worse.
Could have been worse, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know what one major difference was. It wasn't built on the system of slavery in the South, like reproducing slaves to like carry on, like continue generationally the work, but it was just like really hardcore indentured servitude.
Okay,
like
like
slavery, but not like they didn't take it to the level of like breeding, right? Like they did in the South. Is that true?
I think so. I'm not totally sure, but I think that it was much more common. What were you going to say, Tim? Say something?
Oh, just that if you were conquered people, didn't you kind of become slaves sometimes? Like that was the spoils of war, and then you just were a slave until you got free, or you went and conquered somebody else.
Yeah, so if your town or city was conquered or your country was conquered, then the people that lived became slaves of the people that conquered it. And so a centurion, what's a centurion? Anybody know where a centurion might be from?
It sounds Roman.
It's a Roman soldier.
Yeah, I think it's a Roman soldier.
That's what I thought. It was like, it sounds
And
Roman.
Capernaum, I think, is in Rome. But
Yes,
probably.
it is.
Did you look? Okay.
I didn't look it up.
I just know that.
You just know that. Okay.
It's someone from the member of the force.
Like the.
Organized in the Roman fashion.
So he was dressed like a Roman soldier.
Yeah, companies of like 100 men.
That was like
Therefore,
something
the
has to do with
centurion,
100,
right?
So like 100 man like platoon,
Yeah.
like 100 man like unit.
Yeah, that would make sense. And so far, Jesus has been healing Jewish folks, as in Luke. And so he's been teaching people and healing Jewish people mostly, if not completely. I mean, mostly right? Jewish people are mostly who he's healing, if not all Jewish people until this time. This is the first time that I'm aware that he heals someone that's not Jewish. So that's significant.
So a Roman Gentile, right?
Yeah, Gentiles.
And he had heard of him. Like the soldier had heard of Jesus, which probably was not rare. I mean, kind of rare maybe.
Yeah, for sure. He knew Jesus was. That's something that sticks out for sure.
Well, because what's that verb? They besought him instantly. Like, remember, I have to look up besought. That's the word mine uses. In verse 4, when they
Probably
came to
recognized?
Jesus. Yeah, that's what I was
Oh,
thinking.
they appealed to him earnestly.
I was thinking besought him instantly, like seeked him out or something. I don't know. But like,
Yeah.
that would be my guess. But so, what is your say?
Appealed to him,
Yeah.
like so
Pleaded
they
to him. Yeah.
sought him out, appealed to him.
Like, because verse 4 is what stood out to me. It's like Jesus has a reputation now
Yeah,
for what he's been doing
yeah.
in the context of the narrative.
Well, and for a Roman soldier to know who he was, for sure, right? That's a pretty big reputation. So back to the slave thing. The soldiers have slaves of mostly people that they're conquered. Sometimes they're treated much worse than maybe how we think, but sometimes like they were treated like much better than kind of how we were thinking. It depends, and we don't really know in this context, right, how this slave was treated. But obviously, if the centurion is concerned, he cares about this. He cares about this person because it says he valued him highly. So either he was a very good worker, or he cares about him like personally, which is not how we normally think of slavery. So what else sticks out about this? Who asks Jesus to heal this servant, this slave?
The elders.
Yeah. When he heard about Jesus, he sent some Jewish elders to him, asking him to come and heal his slave. So
So it's like he went to the proper protocol, like asked the people in charge, and that's always in the community. In this community, would be the elders. You don't just go and do it without like going to the elders, because that would be like breaking custom, right? Is that where you're going with that?
well, I don't know
Or
if
like
that,
protocol, like like it's a formal way of asking, I need your help, by going to the elders to ask them for help.
somebody that's familiar with Jesus, right, who's Jewish.
Right, 'cause he's
So there could be
Jewish.
several reasons for why. That would be my next question. Like, why would he send the Jewish elders to ask him instead of asking him himself? Maybe it's proper protocol. Why else might he do that?
Well, respect.
Respect.
was getting, because like it's pretty in most culture, like respecting your elders, like respecting the wisdom, respecting that. That's what I was implying with protocol. You go to the elders for our respect, for they know, like
They know how to talk to him. They know the customs. They know.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely could be that. Why else might he get the Jewish elders to do it instead of him doing it himself?
I feel like you know the answer. You're just doing.
Oh, I don't. I know it sounds like that. I don't know exactly the answer, but I have some other thoughts.
Well, since he's a Roman, if he was a Roman and just a totally different culture than them, then he would, like if he just came and knocked on a Jewish person's door and just said, "Hey, let's talk to me," they probably would be. It would be more of a less of a welcoming, or like the relationship would probably be very good if you're a different race and a different.
An outsider.
Sure. So there's more of a chance of success, right? If you get somebody like, that somebody that's like him, they has more of a chance of him actually doing it. How do you? I don't know if this is in Luke, but how? What do we know about the Roman? What do we know about how the Romans felt about Jesus? Even at this time, do you remember? It's going to be going way back.
Well, they didn't believe in him. They didn't like him.
They didn't like him. They end up killing him. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Well, because like
But I don't think they liked the Jews very much either, right?
Yeah.
And this seems to show that there's a good relationship between the centurion and Jewish people, because when they're talking about appealing to Jesus, that he's worthy of having you do this for him because he loves our people. How is that? And my other question is, what does it mean when he says it's he who built our synagogue for us? Those were the things that came up. But, so the relationship between the centurion and the Jewish people, that's my question.
But the unique thing was that we went to that place and there was all
Yeah, that's a good question. What was obviously the centurion? If the Roman people didn't have a good relationship with the Jewish people, which we know there was a lot of oppression and a lot of tension there, what this centurion at least had a good enough relationship with the Jewish people to ask. And then, like, they had to get him to. He believed enough in what Jesus was doing that he was willing to ask him. I guess that do you think that maybe Jesus or the centurion might have been afraid? Like if the Roman government is against Jesus and the Jewish people, this centurion, who's a Roman soldier,
it's like unpatriotic for him to like go seek Jesus because it's against their
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is where you're going,
I think
right?
so.
With
That's
this
at least
here.
a possibility or something to, yeah. I think all of those things are possible. Like, we don't know exactly, but probably all of those things are somewhat
Is that
true.
your train of thought, though?
Yeah.
Okay.
That maybe he was afraid, so he sent other people.
Yeah,
Because it comes back on him. But also, I think it is more successful. It's going to be more successful, and because it's more polite, like what you're saying, like protocol-wise. I think it's all of those things. Like, I don't think it's one or the other or the other. I was trying to find where John the Baptist was killed. But maybe that hasn't happened yet. I thought we read about it. Did we read about that happening? No?
Did we?
You guys remember that?
I don't remember us doing any John the Baptist like
Oh,
study,
okay.
I don't think so.
reading passages.
Okay. We read about him in chapter 2, about him, but he didn't. I thought that maybe that he had died already. But apparently not. All right, what else? Anything else about this?
That's not until 19 when Jesus and
Oh,
John
okay.
the Baptist are together.
Okay, then it's way after. It must in Mark. I think it happens like right away, at the beginning. So I'm getting them confused. So never mind about that. For he loves our people, and it is he who built our synagogue for us. So they're saying that the centurion built the synagogue for the Jewish people, right? Is that what you were asking, Beth? Or is that what
Yeah.
you're... Yeah. So it sounds like
Well,
this.
she's pointing out because that seems like an exception to the context of why you brought up the whole how the Romans feel about Jesus, all that.
Right.
This
Right.
is like this guy's like an outlier. This centurion is like an outlier to their bias, prejudice, their belief system of Jesus and everything.
Yeah.
By going outside of that standard of norm to do this to the point of he's the one that built them a whole synagogue. So kind of a big deal. I think is where Beth is
Yeah.
going with that.
Yeah.
Well, and he's an ally of the Jewish people, which already which is why he would know about Jesus and believe more in Jesus. But it still could be very risky for him
But, you know,
Yeah.
to approach Jesus personally.
being realistic, she doesn't like those love songs.
But yeah, I think that's they're telling Jesus, oh, he deserves this because he helped. He's on our side,
Right. Right.
which means it's smart for him to get the Jewish people that know him to ask Jesus for this. Because it'd be like asking Leanne to talk to the owner of the soccer team because she knows him a lot.
I do.
Yeah.
All right. Who wants to read 6 through 10?
I can. I just need a flashlight. Okay, so 6 through 10. And Jesus went to them, but when he was not far from the house, the centurion sent friends and said to him, Lord, do not trouble yourself, for I am not worthy to have you come under my roof. Therefore I did not presume to come to you, but speak only the word, and let my servant be healed. For I am a man who is set under authority with soldiers under me, and I say to one, go, and he goes, and I say to another, come, and he comes, and to my slave I say, do this, and the slave does it. When Jesus heard this, he was amazed at him, and turning to the crowd that followed, he said, I tell you, not even in Israel have I found such faith.
Read one more.
One more. When those who had been sent returned to the house, they found the slave in good health.
See, yours says slave, mine says servant.
Uh-huh. Mine does too.
Yeah, mine says servant.
Yeah, those are just different translations. And obviously, he probably treated his servant or slave better than how we're thinking about it, how we think about it in America.
The semantic difference, like why this says servant, is to imply that he treated him. Because if it says slave, we would think like bad treatment of servant would be more
Like an employee or something.
Right.
Like maybe they have a choice to leave if they could, if you're a servant.
It's definitely softer, right? It's softer.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, I think it could be more than just servant is a euphemism for slave, sugarcoating slave. It could imply a better relationship or something.
Yeah, a different relationship. And we would have to look up kind of Roman, and maybe we can do that for next week. Look up what slavery or servanthood was like for centurions in Rome. I mean, that's a good thing to look up, to kind of find out. So what sticks out to you about what Leanne read?
There's some humility, in how he approaches. You can see it in the language. He's trying to grease the wheels politely. Kind of is what I got though. And because mine's in the Shakespearean King James version, so it's all the for I also am a man set under authority, having under me soldiers, and say I unto one, go, and he goeth, and to another, come, and he cometh, and to my servant, do this, and he doeth it. He's using some persuasive rhetoric here to I also am a man set under authority, I am not myself neither worthy to come to thee, but in a word. He's like trying to ask him. He's trying to he wants Jesus to help to heal his servant. But he's not just doing like, hey, can you heal my servant, bro? He's just like, he's just doing it in a very flowery way. I kind of like you have authority, and would you do me this favor? Is how he's.
Yeah.
That's how I was taking it.
Totally. No, totally. Like, I'm used to getting what I want. But first he says, do not trouble yourself, for I'm not worthy to have you come under my roof. So it's super humble. He's like, I'm used to getting what I want, but I'm not doing that to you. Like, I'm not bossing you around, even though I boss everyone around. I have authority over people like you have authority, but I'm not worthy. I put myself under you, even though everyone else is under me. I think that's important.
Yeah. You synthesized what I said much clearer. So yeah.
Well, everyone has someone to answer to. Like, he wants someone to answer to, maybe even in some way.
Yeah.
Or who gives him authority to do what he does?
Yeah.
And he says, I am a man set under authority. So it's like he has to serve the people above him, but now he's putting Jesus above him. So he's saying, I'm putting myself under you, just like I'm under the king or whatever, the Roman emperor.
Which is a great way to like ask someone who has more authority or power than you for like a favor.
Yeah, exactly.
He's asking Jesus for a favor.
But he's doing it in the right way. Like, have you guys ever had somebody come to you for a favor, but they were super rude about it?
Oh yeah, but we probably also had somebody ask us for a favor and they're super nice about it. Like, look, I know you're very busy this week, Steve, but can you do me a solid and like help me with this? Because it would really help me out because I got too much on my plate. You know, it was how they would, which happened to me a couple times this week. It was a little like almost stretched me thin because I had to cover like 2 different teachers' classes for a couple of periods this week.
Oh,
because I was just like, look, I know you're busy, but we need you to help.
But if they were like, hey, Steve, you need to cover this, would you have been more likely to do it or less likely?
Well, less likely. You're more likely to do it when they're like, look, I know you are busy, but it would really do us a solid if you could help us out.
Yeah.
You're more likely to be like, all right, yeah, I'll do it for you, bro. But if they just come say like, hey, I need you to do this, you're like, screw, piss off.
Yep, absolutely. What else? What else sticks out to you guys?
Well, I know Beth's got something to say about verse 9, probably. Jesus' response to everything we were just saying, how he uses that night, asked in a very humble, persuasive way. Jesus like, whoa, dude, good job, bro. I've never, like, you are of merit. Or of faith, it says. I've not found so great faith, no, not in Israel. He's referring to him. Jesus paying this guy a compliment?
Yeah. He's saying, the Jewish people are the people he's been healing. So even in my own country, with the people I've been working with the people I came from, I've not ever seen the kind of faith like this.
Yeah, that's a pretty good. And it's kind of dissing the Israelites too. Like, where's your faith? Look at this guy.
And remember who was Luke writing to? Do you guys remember who Luke was writing to with this letter?
You told us when we started the book,
I know you
but
told
I forgot.
us when we started.
Yeah.
It wasn't John, though.
No, it's not a person. It's a group of people.
It's probably the Israelites.
It's the opposite of that.
Damn it.
The Gentiles.
The
So
Gentiles.
Matthew is writing to the Jewish people. Mark is just writing a general, like,
Mark just loves to talk.
he just tells the story.
Basics.
And then all these other gospels are kind of based on Mark, most people think. But then Luke is writing to the Gentiles, the people that aren't Jewish.
Yeah,
So he
audience
takes up a
is
lot.
important. So like,
Yeah.
That's why we're reading Luke's. We love Luke.
Right.
Luke's
Well,
writing to us.
And so Luke writing this story and saying Jesus said, even you have more faith than all the people in Israel, is kind of giving props to the people, the audience reading it, right? Or not probably reading it, but hearing it. Because a lot of people didn't read when he wrote. This was probably written in like close to 100 AD. So the people weren't reading it themselves, but it was read to them. And so it's kind of a props to the Gentiles. Like,
I see you.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's like, see, you can have faith just like you're not excluded, even though you're not Jewish. You're still a part of this story. And Jesus is giving you
Inclusion,
props. What'd you say?
I say biblical inclusion.
Exactly. Biblical inclusion.
Which is important.
And then what happens at the end?
Jesus dies.
The end of this
Oh, wait.
story.
No.
That was the one. Sorry,
Found
was
the
that a spoiler?
servant whole that had been sick, so he was healed. Is that what?
Yep.
Yep. Mine says in good health.
Yep.
They found him in
So,
good health.
so the people that he sent. So this is all like Jesus never meets the centurion, right?
Or the slave.
Or the servant. Yeah. Because he sends the Jewish elders, then he sends his friends, and then the friends go back and tell him, and then when the friends go back, those who've been sent return to the house, they found the slave was in good health. So Jesus, without meeting the centurion, without meeting the servant, heals him long distance,
Phoned a friend.
which like, for example, when he heals the guy that has leprosy, it says he touches it. And so he doesn't have to touch. Either
It was like
Jesus'
virtual.
powers are getting better, or Jesus chooses to touch that man with leprosy because he's not been touched, perhaps, or something. That's a whole other thing.
Well,
But
people are afraid to touch it.
Yeah,
people
I
are
was
afraid
gonna
to
say.
touch it. Yeah,
I mean, that's the equivalent of like
Just like-
the first doctor who like didn't put gloves on when they treated AIDS patients because like
exactly.
to make a statement, make a demonstration.
Exactly.
Like that's more performative. It needed to be performative for that
Right.
case.
Exactly.
The way that this performative in this case is like not even like boom, just make it
He just
happen.
does it.
Just like an example in the modern world is when Princess Diana hugged that child that has HIV.
Yeah.
Because everyone thought if you touch them, you'll get HIV.
Right. Exactly.
And that's why she hugged that child, and she became super famous, and everybody loved it.
Yeah. And that's a great example. That's this kind of stuff Jesus did. But then also, he didn't have to do it. He could have healed him another way, but he chose to heal him that way, right? Because of that very same idea, I think. But this time he does it over Zoom, or not even. Like he does it virtually. Without meeting the centurion, without meeting the servant, not knowing them, he still is able to heal. Possibly because of the faith.
This was my breakfast, my lunch, and my dinner.
But let's do
Still
this.
be personal. It's very specific and personal.
Yeah, it is specific and personal.
He still gets the wow factor.
You guys wanna go through the next one, or do you wanna
change up?
do that next time?
It's a change up. Jesus change up.
You want to do it next time?
You know, he's been throwing like
Not a big
snowballs,
party.
so then boom, he throws the heat.
I don't know if you know this, but Christy is a party planner, and she's planning my birthday.
All right,
kind of a
so we'll
big
start in verse
celebration.
11 next Friday.
I
So
love
very
that.
humble of you.
I am
What
extremely humble.
what are y'all's takeaways from this? What can we do with this in our own lives, in our own world?
I think there's a certain way. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as an example, it's obviously we can't heal people, but like Leanne has someone in her classroom that needs food and help.
Mhm.
From a distance, with him not knowing this, we can give him food to help him.
Bingo. Perfect. Beautiful. That's beautiful.
I want somebody to take me.
What else?
I want
That's great. What else can we do with this?
truly, I'm not going to. when I say I walked here, I mean I walked here.
Think of others.
What's
You
that?
know, it's like
Think of others.
Think of others.
it's like direct and indirect. Like the direct way to like help someone be like, I showed up at Leanne's work and like gave her coffee or something. Or like your example's indirect. I just gave Leanne like some extra money so that kid could have food. That's indirect.
Or just like Beth asked for prayers for her friends.
Yeah.
It's like they don't know us. We're doing it from a distance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
That's
have
another
a
great example.
I have a friend that's gonna come to the tailgate tomorrow, and I would really, 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 really love it if she could join our group. But I'm not 100% sure what her like religious beliefs are, and I personally don't feel 100% confident to just approach her and be like, come to our church. But if we could just make her feel welcome, and then
Yeah.
like, you know her, it's Brian's wife. But if we could just
I
make
thought you were Brian's wife.
you know what I
Sorry.
mean. It's his do-over wife. But if we could just make her feel welcome, then I feel like maybe there might be a possibility she would come. And I just feel like, I don't know, I just get this certain energy from her that she needs us. Like I know that might sound weird.
No, that
But
doesn't sound weird at all.
I get this certain energy from her that she needs us, and I just want her to feel like she can come in here and be part of this special thing that we have going on. But I don't want to be pushy, because I feel like if we're pushy and we're like come to church, then she'll be like no. So if we can just make her like see how awesome we are tomorrow, then maybe we can just like coax her in easily.
So let's try to be awesome.
Just be awesome tomorrow, guys. Go team.
I'm sorry, when are we not awesome?
Facts. You're awesome every day all week.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
And don't forget, we need a group picture for tomorrow.
We do.
What,
So
tomorrow?
everybody look their best. If you need a United shirt, let me know. I have about 2 dozen.
I think one thing like that, we were talking to senators and people we disagree with and stuff. Like when Jesus goes here and these elders come to him and say, hey, there's this Roman soldier. He wants your help, but he's cool. Like how willing are we to, like when I talk to someone that I know isn't going to like me or I think isn't going to like me, I have a certain bias against them. And I think that what I'm kind of taking from this is to be more open, for me to be more open-minded to people that even if I think they're not going to like me, I need to like reach out and like be kind to them anyway, and not assume that they're one of the bad guys, even if like they're different from me or like against me, you know. I mean, it happens all the time, right? With people that are like, oh, I had bad experiences in the church. I don't like religion, like those kind of things. A lot of times I go in with this sense of, oh, they don't like me anyway. Instead of like...
That's a fixed mindset versus an open mindset.
Exactly. Instead of trying to win them over and charm them, like I know we're all capable of doing. And help people.
Knows what I'm talking
about. And I think that's what's important.
I do.
I think that's what's important about us, like being here and hanging out with people and meeting people and being at the tailgate and meeting other people, and like even if they're not into church, we're not here for people that are into church. We're here for people that aren't into church. So like this story is kind of an example of us reaching out to people that are different than us.
Damn, I guess I should just go home.
And getting help from them, like he asked for help from him, like a guy he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Right, our batteries are dying, so we need to
Lesson:
wrap it up.
how to get a good reference. Just kidding.
Yeah.